Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a recent report that has been released by the ISA, that is the International Solar Alliance. The report is called as World Solar Report for the year 2024, and we are going to discuss in details how does the solar energy share as far as the power generation, electricity generation is concerned, looks at both global level as well as at the India's level. So let us try to understand that what is the first of all report talking about. So recently the World Solar Report released by the ISA, it has stated that we have seen a stellar rise in the overall share of solar energy in the energy basket globally. And if you look at the data in the beginning of this century, that is in 2000, the overall share or the world's solar capacity stood at 1.22 gigawatt, and in the last 23 years it has grown at a rate of 36%, that is CAGR, compounded annual growth rate of 36%, and today from a minuscule number of 1.22 gigawatt it has reached a potential of 1419 gigawatt, that is 1419 gigawatt. We talk about the entire renewable energy sector, which is generally made up of solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, small hydropower. So in the entire renewable capacity, the addition of solar energy itself represents 3/4, that means 75% of the total basket. So that is how we can underline the significance and importance of solar energy. We can also try to look at the regional level how the capacity addition has been observed in past 4 or 5 years. So if you look at the areas, so as we can see, the largest increase or largest growth of the solar sector we have seen in the country, that is China, and this has a humongous share. Almost we can see that between 2020 to 2023, within a single year itself, there has been increase in 87% in the solar capacity of China. And this is something that is a common theme across all the years that we are talking about. After the China, the second region where we are seeing a massive increase in the share is in the Americas and Asia Pacific. Plus, in the year between 2022 to 2023, Europe also has increased its share significantly. But still, we talk about the most stellar rise is coming from the China. Now, if we talk about the India's solar power generation, so as we can see, in the year 2014-15, India's total solar power stood at 3.7 gigawatt only. And in the last 10 years, almost we can say, from 3.7, India's number again has risen to 74.3 gigawatt. So again, India also has significantly boosted and increased its solar power generation potential in the last 1 decade. So that is about this. Now also, if you take a look that in India how the solar energy is being captured and where most of the solar power potential is being generated, the answer is given on the map itself. If you take a look at the map of India, the largest contribution in the solar power generation is made by the state of Rajasthan, and that actually makes sense because solar power is dependent upon the intensity of solar radiation that is being received, also dependent upon the amount of free land that is available to us. So Rajasthan provides us the best opportunity, as here you have the huge amount of solar energy incident throughout the year, plus a large area is uninhabited due to the desert kind of landscape. So a best place for the solar energy generation. After the Rajasthan, at the second number, we can see we have the southern states of Karnataka. Then at the third number, we can see we have the Gujarat. Then we have Tamil Nadu. Then we have Andhra Pradesh. So these are the top 5 leading state as far as the solar energy generation is concerned in India. Again, to revise: Rajasthan, Karnataka, Gujarat, then we have Tamil Nadu and the Andhra Pradesh. If we talk about the energy basket of India, the energy, how we are producing the energy, so obviously as you can see, the highest share, 48.2% of total energy that is being generated in India, the source is the coal-based thermal power plant. And in the remaining 52%, you have the other entire different type of what you can say sources, energy sources. So here, if you look at the contribution of solar, again it is significant. Almost 20% we can say energy that is generated in India is generated by using the solar power. So first you have the coal-based thermal power plant, then you have the solar-based power plant, then you have the small hydro project, Then you have the oil and gas, nuclear, wind, biopower, etc. If you talk about the total energy that being generated in India today, installed capacity as per the 31st August 2024, it is 451 gigawatt, out of which 20% is solar. So that is how we can understand the distribution of solar energy in India, both how it has grown, distribution regionally based on the state, and the contribution in the overall entire energy basket of India. Now, as per the recent report released by the ISA again we have discussed is the International Solar Alliance. International Solar Alliance actually was conceptualized in year 2015 largely with the leadership of two nations, that is India and France. The main objective of the ISA or International Solar Alliance is to increase the funding in the solar energy sector at least up to $1 trillion by the end of 2030, and also it is open to all the UN member countries who can join, become part of the ISA, International Solar Alliance. And due to this, till now more than 100 countries have joined the alliances, where more than 90 countries have already ratified the ISA. Now, if talk about the technology that ISA has talked about, the recent technology development that we have seen in the solar sector, the first is the quantum dot solar cell, a new kind of solar cell that is being manufactured, which actually increases the efficiency, which is a record breaking efficiency of 18.1%. And if we are able to use the quantum technology in new development of the solar cells that we are doing across the world, obviously we will be able to increase the amount of energy that a conventional cell captures. As compared to them, we can capture much more higher amount of energy. And what is its significance? Because one of the major what I can say, the problems that the solar energy sector faces is that to generate unit megawatt of energy, it requires much more larger amount of area as compared to other sources of energy generation. So by increasing the efficiency, what will happen? Will able to produce more power from a smaller area, and thus it will also boost the overall energy supply, as well as it will also increase the acceptability of solar energy generation across many regions and the countries. Second, the technology that is being used is the self-healing solar panel. Self-healing solar panels basically is again a revolutionary technology, because such solar panels are able to extend their lifespan and reduce the maintenance of existing solar cell technology. So the cost of maintenance will significantly reduce. That again will serve as an incentive for the wider acceptance of solar energy. Third, solar powered phytomining technology. Phytomining is basically the mining of the essential metals from the ground using phyto. Phyto is what? Tree. And that mining is powered by what? Powered by the sun's energy. So that is something that can be considered as an alternate of the conventional mining, which is very, very hazardous and dangerous for the environment and the soil degradation, water pollution and all. Then if we talk about the solar power blocks, which is being used these days to design the buildings, in the construction of buildings, where the building itself, the solar panel itself is being integrated in the building infrastructure. For example, the entire glass building that you might be seeing can be made by using such kind of solar power blocks, and thus the transparency will also be ensured, and at the same time the entire area can be used for the solar energy generation. So we will be able to maximize our efficiency of solar power generation from a smaller area, okay, from per unit area we can say. So these are some of the revolutionary technology ISA has talked about. Now the other significance of development and wide use and application of this technology will be in the reduction of reliance on the critical materials. Today we know that one of the major problems specifically in context of India is that we have shortage of critical materials that is used for the manufacturing and designing of solar photovoltaic cells. And these minerals, for example, I talk about is our lithium and other rare earth elements. Most of these are concentrated in the few countries, such as talk about Australia, China and all that. So such development of alternate technology will reduce our reliance, and thus will also be better for the economy. And the solar sector is also prioritizing recycling panels and implementing circular economy, a very, very important term that has been incorporated under the solar, what you can call as the planning as given by the ISA to maintain environment, to minimize the environmental impact. Now, circular economy is something that we have to understand. It is a very important term, and this is something which should be a part of all the industrial processes. If briefly we try to understand, circular economy is based on the simple concept. We know that industries or any kind of power generation is based on the use of raw material, and then you have the finished product. So first of all, using the raw material, you should focus on such a design which is sustainable in nature. Second, once it is produced, it is distributed, then it is consumed. Now, after consumption, what happens? Rather than just throwing it out, we should focus on the reuse and repair. For example, we talk about solar photovoltaic cell. Just because now it is not yielding the result, or it is not working, you should not just discard it, throw it out. Rather, the focus should be on the reuse and repair of such kind of photovoltaic cells. Just one example we're talking about. So for that, you have to ensure the collection. There should be an agency that is directly involved in collecting such kind of technology materials from the consumer. After the collection, then there should be a proper waste management, where many waste will be there, which is residual waste, which cannot be used anymore. That should be discarded, and those materials which can be reused again should be separated, collected, and incorporated in the next phase of designing and production. So this is something that is called a circular economy, where there is no wastage of material, rather you have much more efficient utilization of the raw materials in the designing process. So this is something that has been incorporated as far as the solar sector is concerned. Now, what about the global market? So if you take a look at the pie chart here, we can clearly see that again here the dominating country in the terms of solar energy generation is obviously China. China's total solar power generation stands today at about 610 gigawatt, making up almost 41 to 42% of the total solar power generation across the world. At the second number, then we have the United States, which make up meager 10% of the share of the global solar energy generation, that stands at 137.73 gigawatts. So China, then we have US, then further Japan, Germany, and India. Each of them share a 5 to 6%. And then we have the emerging economies such as Brazil, Australia, Italy, and Spain. They have a small share of 2% in each. Now, interestingly, China, if you talk about, three major things are there where the China in the solar sector is taking the lead. One, we already have discussed. China is the one that is adding to its solar power potential at a fastest rate. Second, China also stand at a high, stand what you can say the first number as far as the solar capacity of the generation of energy is concerned. And third, China also maintains the highest share in the manufacturing of component, which is essential for the solar energy generation, with 97% of the wafers that is used for the construction or development of the photovoltaic cell is being manufactured in China. 89% of the photovoltaic cells are being manufactured in China. 83% of the module which is manufactured and the installation capacity exists with China. So as far as the solar energy is concerned, China is a leading country in all the areas, whether it is production, whether it is increase, whether it is the consumption, distribution, or we can say manufacturing sector. Now, other point that the report highlight is that the solar energy is not only limited to the energy sector itself, rather the development of solar energy has impacted other industries, other areas of economy as well. For example, if we talk about the solar energy and its expansion in past, we can say few years, has created a humongous job and economic development. As per the report, between the employment in the solar energy sector has rose to 7.1 million in 2023, and that was only 5 million in 2022 worldwide. So rapid addition in the job is being observed here. Second, it has a significant impact on the agriculture as well, where the solar powered irrigation system is largely being accepted by many farmers and agricultural communities in India as well as across the world. And one of the major reasons behind this is obviously the cost effectiveness. If you talk about the pumps that is run using the solar power, they obviously, for them, the cost that will be incurred to the farmer will be much more lesser than the diesel powered pump, for example. So that is why the acceptance rate is quite higher. The only thing that you have to ensure is to ensure the availability of these systems to the farmers across India. Third, as far as the acceptance is concerned, as we have discussed, it is very high. So it is expected, as per the report, that the solar power irrigation system, it will keep on growing at a rate of 5.8% in at least foreseeable future. Other area where the solar power has played its role is in the livestock management. Livestock generally refers to the animals. So the agrivoltaic systems are being used in many parts of the world. In the case of agrivoltaic systems, as you can see from this particular image here, you have the solar photovoltaic cells that is placed in the farmland, placed in the areas where you have the pastures. So it serves two purposes. First, by putting this photovoltaic cell, you are able to provide shade to the animals. So animals can rest without having the direct sunlight, okay, or the adverse effect of that. And second, also at the same time, it is using the same pasture land to generate electricity as well. So thus, it basically solves the major problem that the solar energy has, is the lack of land. So the dual use that is being observed here makes the livestock management or the use of solar cell in livestock management a very what you can say as encouraging development that we have seen. Now we have discussed about major findings of the report, the distribution of solar energy in India as well as across the world. So we can try to answer one question which can be asked in the prelims examination. The question is that with reference to solar power production in India, consider the following statement. First, India is the third largest in the world in the manufacture of silicon wafers used in the photovoltaic units. Second, the solar power tariffs are determined by the Solar Energy Corporation of India. Third, India is second largest solar energy producing country in the world. Now the options are given here, 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, all of the above are correct or none of the above are correct. So think about it, go back to the video, watch it again, you will be able to find answers to most of the points, and then please drop what is the correct answer for this particular question. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you got a gist of the solar report published by the ISA for this particular year. Thank you very much.